The face of AIDS has changed dramatically over the past 30 years of the epidemic. Originally, the face of AIDS was Rock Hudson, a gay white man. And now, nationally, the face of AIDS is predominantly black and increasingly female.
In the early rehearsals, we had personified HIV as this kind of useless boyfriend that never did anything but kind of hang around your house, and we played with that, and we didn't really keep it, but it was very rich as far as watching them spiral out of that into something else.
I've been using heroin since I was 16 up till 42. I spent most of my youth in CYA, Youth Authority. I did about 2 years there. And when I turned 18 till I was like 42, I was in and out of prison. I was diagnosed in 1987. I ended up telling my mother, and she ended up telling my sister, and my sister didn't want nothing to do with me. I ended up being on methadone, and then my counselor brought me up to San Francisco.
When I first met Cassandra, I was struck by how vulnerable a situation she was in.
My life was threatened. They was going to put a gun to my head.
So to us, trauma has become a clue to what's driving the epidemic in women. Why are so many women getting infected, and why, once they are infected, how come so many of them still fare so poorly?
When I found out, my world was very, very dark, very dark. I didn't have no hope, I didn't have no dream, I didn't have nothing. Because during '87, everybody around me was dying, and I thought I was going to die too.
The Women's HIV program at UCSF has a lot to offer patients like Cassandra. We have HIV specialists, we have a gynecologist, we have an obstetrician, we have therapists, we have case managers, we have an incredible social worker. It is a type of medical care that most people don't have access to. And it's that intense because the need is that intense. And we've realized that to be successful taking care of such complicated situations, both medically and socially, that we need that type of multidisciplinary teamwork. We also realized that to deal with the stigma and shame associated with HIV, that we needed to do more than we typically can do in a typical medical office. And so we reached out to Rhodessa Jones, who for the past 25 years had been working in prisons on a program called the Meda Project.
Well, the Meda Project, Theater for Incarcerated Women, is a very, very popular community-based arts project. And the whole idea was to take storytelling and find a way through storytelling to encourage women, to give them permission to see themselves as mythical creatures.
Rhodessa starts giving people writing assignments. And they're tough writing assignments about writing a letter to your younger self, knowing what you know today. Reflecting on when you first found out you're HIV positive, writing about an abusive situation when you were a child, writing about a loss.
Nobody never asked them to write about themselves in the first person context. Nobody ever asked them to put themselves at the center of anything.
The group then identifies certain stories as being particularly evocative.
The Meda Project is rooted in how do we save our own lives, because there are children waiting, there's so much more at stake than even your passion for him or your passion for the drug. It's like, well, how do we begin, how do we stop to begin again, yeah.
I knew that there was something inside of me that wanted me to speak out and speak for myself and other women living with HIV.
After the show every night, we had a talk back, and there were people who stood up actually and came out with their status at the end of the show. And I felt like that was incredibly ennobling and powerful, that they would see these women open up and do all these things, and then they would say, well, I'm living with HIV. You know, I'm HIV positive, and that was like priceless. Yeah.